What is going on, golfers and gamers? Welcome to the channel. My name is Kyle. If you like golf and you like video games, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are well on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and I would really appreciate your help getting there. Today, I have got an amazing video for you. We're going to be comparing the new EA PGA Tour game that's coming out on April the 7th to the pretty well-established PGA Tour 2K franchise that's been around since, I believe, 2018. Some of you might even know it as the Golf Club. We're going to be getting pretty deep into it. We're going to be starting to talk with the character customizations. We're going to talk about some of the different game modes that are going to be on offer. We're going to be taking a pretty good look at the graphics, and then we're going to be looking at the gameplay. I'm going to give you guys kind of my opinions on some of these things. A lot of it's going to be speculation on as far as the EA side goes, but I'll kind of give you a conclusion as well. Make sure if you like the video, you do hit that like button. It's the best way to keep the video in the algorithm. Let's get right into it. Alright, so one of the first things I want to talk about is character customization. This is a really big deal to me. I personally do not play with a lot of the pros they put in these games. I like to customize my character, get it as similar to myself as I can make it, and play with that across all the game modes. Both of these games are going to have pretty in-depth character creators. 2K's recent game, 2K23, relatively in-depth. There's a lot you can do with changing the face, changing your height. There's not many hair options in 2K, and you can't adjust your weight at all, but you can get pretty in-depth and make your character's face look pretty much exactly like your face. It looks like we're going to have all of those same options, but more hair options, be able to adjust our weight in the EA game. Additionally, in EA's game, you're going to be able to customize your golf swing itself. I know they've talked about like 14 or 15 different male swings and a couple different female swings that you can choose from. And to me, this is massive. I really do like to kind of stand out, have something that's very me when I'm playing these games, especially in the ranked modes and any online modes. And I think that's just going to be fantastic to have my character that much more in depth, looking like me, feeling like me, the swing similar, the tempo similar. In 2K, you can pick an archetype: power, shot shaping, rhythm. There's a few, I think, like greensmith and putting. There's a few different archetypes you can pick from, and those do have quite a large impact on the game. There's also a skill point system that's in there. Now, the skill points don't seem to have that much of an impact. The archetypes do affect kind of the baseline, how far the ball can go, how big your gap is for your tempo window, for example, if you're picking the rhythm one. So it's very impactful. All of those things seem to have a counterpart in the EA game. You're going to be able to customize that same archetype system, whether you're better at putting, chipping, driving, irons, tempo, whatever it might be. It seems you're going to be able to customize that. You might even be able to customize what your character does as an AI with its course management skills, which I think is just super cool. The EA just does seem to have a more in-depth character customization. Looking at the golf clubs and all the different options when it comes to what shafts and golf clubs you can use. 2K does have a fitting system that's in the game. Now, I will say it's very robust and it's almost random to a degree. There's different rarities of fittings with club heads, shafts, and grips that provide different stats that you really can kind of fine-tune how the game feels, how far the ball can go, how much you can shape the shot. And I'd say that's probably where most of your virtual currency is going to end up going. In 2K, there's not many options when it comes to clothing and cosmetics in the pro shop. Most of the time, you're going to be spending your virtual currency and your customizations on those fittings as well as golf balls. In 2K, there are different rarities of different types of golf balls that in the ranked modes really do make a massive difference. So all your virtual currency as you play a lot of 2K, not much of it goes into character customization. A lot of it goes into gameplay customization. I know personally I just rifle through my virtual currency for the highest tier golf balls for my ranked matches in 2K23, and I really just don't, there's no clothing that I don't already have in the pro shop. They don't seem to put much in, and most of the clothing comes in through the season pass, the clubhouse passes they do. You know, as we look at the EA game, they're going to have their own fitting system as well. I don't think it's going to be the same thing as what 2K is doing. They're doing more of like club specs based off real life pro club specs, and I'm not too sure what they're doing with their golf balls either, but I do know they're going to have a ton of clothing options. Just from what we've seen from the trailers, there's just boatloads of clothing options. The pro shop seems to be very robust, and I know EA loves to put in their cosmetics in these games, so I feel like that's something they're going to be pretty good about adding as well. I don't know much about the golf balls. I'm really curious to see how they do golf balls, if that's something they're going to try to monetize the way 2K has. I'm also curious to see how we really achieve all those fittings and how well that plays into the character customization. I know one of those main features of the character customization in EA is you could bring completely different golf club setups and presets to different golf courses. Now in 2K, I do find myself just using the same set. I'm pretty comfortable with the fittings I have. They're all legendary, they're all top tier, and I don't find myself changing that much. I'm very curious, I should say, to see if I am actually going to be bringing a different set of golf clubs and a different setup to different golf courses, and how that whole thing plays into the character customization. I'm really excited about how in-depth EA's character customization looks, especially when I compare it to what we have in 2K. And not that 2K's character customization is bad, it's just clearly not a massive focus for the franchise. It's something they definitely want, but right now it just doesn't seem like the pro shop and a bunch of different clothes is really where all of their focus is at. I know a lot of you do like to play with the pros, and there seems to be a pretty good variety across both games. I don't think there's any overlap just because of the way name, image, and likeness deals play out. There's just no way we're going to get Tiger Woods in EA. He is in 2K. I know 2K has a lot of those influencers, Nade Shot. I know they're probably going to put, Schoolboy Q in there. My understanding, there's Steph Curry. There's some influencers in there. It's really cool. If you like to play with pros, it's a really cool way to play with it. EA is going to have a pretty robust group of pros to play with as well, male and female. I don't know too many by name. I know EA's got Will Zalatoris and a couple others that are pretty big names, but nothing like what 2K's got. In my opinion, I think when it comes to playable pros, 2K's gonna take that bag. Having Tiger Woods is just amazing. They got Bubba Watson in there, and I'm a lefty. I like playing with, if I do play with the pro, I'm probably gonna play with Bubba. And they have some really cool influencers in there as well. So I think that's just something to add to that character customization conversation. And let me know what you guys think about some of those things as well. Alright, so let's take a look at the game modes. I think the very first thing to mention, and we have to talk about, is crossplay, because we'll be talking about some online game modes and stuff like that. So let's talk about crossplay first and foremost. 2K23 just recently got an update for crossplay. You can now play all across all the platforms that the game is available on, which includes PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. EA is not going to be launching with crossplay. We are all very sad about that. But much like 2K, it's going to be put in post. Some sort of update we'll get in a patch down the line. That to me is a big bummer. Man, it is 2023. Crossplay has been available for so many games on all of these, across both these publishers for quite a while. So the fact that we're getting this game launched without it is quite disappointing to me when it comes to EA. So I just wanted to point that out there. When you're playing EA online, it's not going to be crossplay for any of the game modes. But let's jump right into one I know we all care a whole lot about, and that's the career mode. When we look at 2K and the golf club, when we look at the career mode across its entire lifespan, but mostly its most current iteration, the one thing I think we can all agree is that it lacks depth. There's not much presentation. There just doesn't seem to have too much, I'll say, replayability, in the sense that you really only play it, at least at my point, I only play it to earn VC as a fast way to earn VC. The addition in 2K23 that they added was highlights of PGA Tour players as you're playing. So as you're playing, you might have a rival in 2K in your career, and it's one of the pros in the game, and it'll kind of clip out to them, a highlighted shot by them, which in theory sounds really cool, but what it turns into is a massive hindrance on the gameplay, because it always just shows like the same thing. It's them chipping in or them holing out from the bunker every single time, and you know it's coming, and it really just slows your round down. If it was more dynamic, it might be pretty cool, but it literally just shows them holing it out from the bunker or chip every time. So it's annoying in a sense, and it kind of just gets in the way. I find myself just shutting the option off when I play career mode. Another thing that the career mode lacks is the named majors and the presentation that goes with those majors. And as we look at the EA game, that's something we know we're going to get for sure. They're advertising very heavily that all 4 majors are going to be in the game, and as they showed us in the career mode gameplay trailer, the presentation is going to be on point. They've got trophy awards. You can see the committees. It's really, really cool. The presentation seems to be on point. In addition to that, it seems that you're going to be able to play with pros in your group. They'll actually be there shot for shot, and they're going to be matched with real life shot data. To me, that just seems leaps and bounds better than the iteration we have in 2K, where it's just that highlighted moment from your rival exclusively. In EA, it does seem like you're going to kind of get a feel for how the field's playing or how he's playing, and it's going to be more dynamic. It's not going to be just hole outs. It's going to be every shot. I think that's going to really, really add some depth to your round-to-round playing on your career mode. You add that with the presentation that we can expect from EA games. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to play in the Masters. I'm really excited to play in the Open. I think that's just going to be really a great time. I think I'll be finding myself using those moments as thumbnails and stuff like that. And then you just add all the customization, character customization with that. I think it's going to be just really, really cool. And it's probably going to tug on some nostalgia strings from some of those early Tiger Woods games as well. Looking at some of the more competitive modes, do we have ranked in EA? Well, as we look in the past, EA has not necessarily had a golf game out in the real meat of the online era. Now, we had 2014 Tiger Woods, or not Tiger Woods, but the Masters edition, and that was really good. They had online leaderboards, they had weekly challenges, daily matches and stuff like that. That was a lot of fun. I think that's similarly what we can expect in EA, but I do believe there's going to be some kind of ranked mode. As we look at 2K, they just recently put in a ranked game mode, including solo match play and alternate shot duo match play format. Personally, I play those a lot. It's my favorite way to play the game these days. The ranked mode is just so in depth. Playing with somebody else, the pressure moments are all there. So I really do hope we see a similar style ranked mode from EA, but maybe it has just a little more dynamic leaderboards. I do hope we see communities in EA. As we look at 2K, we have societies, and that's a big part of where a lot of your time goes when you play 2K for a long time, is online societies, whether it's TGC or your favorite streamers society. They're just a lot of fun to engage with because they're just big fields, stroke play style stuff. I don't believe we're going to get that in EA off the bat. I do think that's something they're going to try to do their best to make, but we do know that 2K societies are awesome. You can put virtual currencies on the line. They're just very in depth. You can change the rules to exactly how you want it to play with your community and your friends, and just a really great way to play the game, the 2K societies. And talking about those game modes, when you speak about the difficulty of the game, I think it's hard not to have those conversations together. I do believe the competitive modes on EA are going to be more arcade style. I don't think they're going to be removing the overspins and the overswings from EA's ranked modes or online competitive modes. As we look at 2K's online modes, it's very simulation. It's a very simulation style game there. The online modes, you can make them as more simulation or as more game-like as you want with 3-click and stuff like that. But I don't believe we're going to have that much control and customization when it comes to EA's online game modes. Another game mode I would really like to talk about is big party game modes. When we look at 2K, we have what's called Divot Derby, which is essentially just speed golf with elimination rounds. It's my favorite game mode to play, especially when you're talking about a big group of people. It's lobbies up to 20. Unfortunately, 2K's biggest problem when it comes to all of their online game modes is server stability. Often when I do this game mode on stream and we fill the lobby, it crashes inevitably. We haven't been able to play this game mode since launch, but more than once. And you're talking about just crashing over and over and over and over. And it's the same problem with ranked recently as well. it has real server stability issues when it comes to its online game modes. And again, speaking of 2K, if EA launches with any competitive game modes, decent quality, server stability, I think it's going to kind of take that trump. I think the career mode is going to blow 2K's career mode out of the water. And I think if it has good online server stability, I think its game modes are just going to be that much more accessible and that much more fun. I don't, however, think the ranked and competitive modes are going to be as simulation as a lot of the 2K fans want it to be, including myself. I do like a good golf simulator, and I'm a big fan of that. I don't think I'm necessarily going to get to scratch that itch with EA's online modes all the time, but that is yet to be seen. Really looking forward to seeing how those play out. So let's talk a little bit about graphics now. One of the biggest issues I have with EA as it's launching when it comes to consoles is it's going to be locked at 30 FPS. However good the game may look, and I do believe EA looks fantastic. The engine it's running on is just gorgeous. The textures are amazing. I think the swings look great, but the frame rate is abysmal. And even in the trailers, the frame rate has just been awful. It makes it look weird. And then we come to find out that on consoles, it's going to be locked at 30 FPS, which is just crazy to me considering it's only releasing for next gen consoles. I cannot understand why my PlayStation 5 is not able to run a golf video game at 60 FPS. It does look detailed, but I've been playing some other games that are really detailed on this PlayStation 5 that run at 60 FPS. So that really is a big knock on it. On its graphics side, I know if you're playing on PC, that will not be the case, and I might find myself playing it on PC just for that frame rate. When you look at 2K, the frame rate is a big deal. If you're playing on 30 FPS on 2K on last gen consoles, it is simply a harder game with less frame rate. Golf is kind of a game of degrees, and when you're missing half of the frames, it's kind of hard to be precise. So I'm hoping that's not going to be an issue with next gen consoles with the EA game, but I know it's an issue with last gen consoles on 2K. That being said though, I think it's hands down EA's game just looks better. The engine just looks better. The detail is outrageous. It's kind of crazy to me how good some of the transitions from different cuts of rough to the different textures and sand all look just amazing. The splash looks amazing out of the sand. It really does just look fantastic. Some of it I would consider absolutely photorealistic, absolutely way up there as far as the graphics go. 2K is running on quite a dated engine. It looks great. It really does. It looks great, especially if you're playing on PC and you've got everything, ultra settings. It looks fantastic, but I think EA just takes the cake on the actual graphics and the visual presentation. The aesthetics are just so on point in EA's game. It's kind of crazy. But again, I know a lot of you don't have access to PC gaming and you are going to be stuck playing this game on your console, and being locked at 30 FPS is going to be a major hindrance. I do imagine that's something they might put an update out for eventually, where it's like, hey, we finally optimized the game good enough to run at 60 FPS. Hopefully we do get that, but for now, that's a big knock on it and just gonna be hard to get over. I know I'm gonna be playing it on both, but if that FPS really does hinder the actual gameplay, if it makes it harder for me to hit accurate shots because I'm missing frames, I'm probably gonna end up switching to PC for it. That's a big deal. So take that for what it is. The graphics look great though, but just mind what platform you're playing it on. So for a lot of us, the whole thing is going to come down to what game do I play most, and that whole thing is going to come down to, well, what's the gameplay like? Now, I do believe fundamentally these gameplays are going to be different. We know from some interviews that the EA game, it is going to have a swing stick and a tempo mechanic, but it is going to fundamentally operate differently. It's going to be one consistent tempo across all shots, and as we know from playing a lot of 2K and what they've said, 2K's tempo adjusts based on the length of the swing. So a lot of us struggle with tempo on shorter shots, pitches, flops, chips in 2K23. It's really hard to get the tempo right because it's not the same tempo you've been hitting with other shots. That is not going to be the same case in EA's game. The swing stick is going to be very similar. You're going to have that tempo mechanic, but the tempo is not going to adjust as you adjust your length of your swing. So I believe that is going to make the game easier, much more accessible accessible. I think accessible is a better word. I know a lot of people that get into 2K, they find themselves playing 3-click because the swing stick tempo mechanic is so punishing sometimes. It's fun when you get it right, but it can be so punishing for some people. And I think when they pick up EA's game, no matter what swing difficulty they find themselves on, they're going to find that tempo mechanic just much easier to hit. Moving on, I do think the EA game is just going to have a more arcade style feel. We know that we're picking skill points and unlocking shots, so you can't hit a punch shot when you just get on tour. That's going to feel really weird. You know, in 2K, you create the shot. There are a couple shot types, but you're creating the shot through elevation and spin for the most part. EA is going to have a whole bunch of different shot types, and if you played any other EA games, you know how their X factors works and stuff like that. You know, I do fundamentally believe when you use something like the Texas wedge, it's going to ignore the fairway and how the fairway affects the golf ball, and it's going to make it roll more like a putt than anything you can reproduce in 2K21 using a putt, or 2K23 using a putter from the fairway. So I think it's just going to have a more arcade feel. We know we're going to get these overswings and be able to adjust the spin mid-flight. That is a very arcade mechanic, and that's going to make some crazy shots possible that just are not possible in 2K23. 2K23 is very simulation when it comes to how the ball reacts to certain situations and the shot shaping and stuff. I will also add in 2K23 the way the wind works, the way lies work, all these things are very consistent to real life. They're using very real life data, and it's all driven through real life data, and it's very, very good. It's very simulation. The way you adjust spin, loft, and the way these things work with the wind, it's honestly, it's incredible sometimes. I think with the overswinging and the changing of the spin, we're going to lose some of that simulation feel in EA. I think it's just going to have a more arcade style gameplay and a gameplay loop, and I think that's going to persist through the career mode into its online ranked modes. But I don't think that's a bad thing in any way. And that's going to kind of lead me to the conclusion of this video. What game is better? Well, I don't think these are going to be the same game. I think one is a simulation video game in 2K where they are just trying to reproduce real world golf the best that they can, and they do a fantastic job at that. I think EA is taking a more arcade approach. Yes, they're going to have all sorts of real life shot data in it, and it's going to feel like a lot of real life golf, but there's going to be an underlying element of arcade with the changing of spin and overswings and the way some of these fittings and stuff might work that is just going to make it feel more like an arcade game, kind of have that old school Tiger Woods video game feels to it, which is not a bad thing. Again, I think it's okay that we have two different golf games in the space. I believe I'm going to find myself playing both of these games a whole lot on stream. I think when I really want my golf simulation ranked action going on, probably going to find myself playing 2K23, and when I want some in-depth career mode and I want to be role-playing myself as a PGA Tour golfer, I'll be playing EA. I think when it comes to the online playing with my friends, I'll probably play a lot of golf with my friends on EA. But what I'm going to probably end up playing more competitively is yet to be seen. It might be 2K, we don't know. I'd like to see EA implement some sort of simulation ranked game mode, and if that is the case with all of its character customization and all that stuff, I might find myself playing more EA. But the last thing we have to talk about, because you cannot leave this out of the conversation, is golf course. EA only has 30 golf courses, and I feel real confident in saying they're going to try to sell us golf courses via microtransactions if we want to play anymore. 2K23 has a user golf course creator, and you can play any golf course that any user is creating, and there are some wild experiences out there. I will always be going back to 2K23 to play user created golf course, no matter what. It is such a mind-blowing feature. It is so cool to have in the game. I'm always going to be participating in playing in some societies on 2K that are rotating new golf courses from users in the community. That's just something I'm never going to get away from, and that's just something that EA is probably never going to put in. If they did, wow, does that change the whole conversation. But in conclusion, guys, I think I'm going to be playing a whole bunch of both of these games. I think EA has a whole ton of upside ads. I think a lot of golfers are going to find themselves playing EA maybe more than 2K. I might fall in that category, but 2K is always going to have a game mode that's bringing me back. Societies, ranked, user-created golf courses, I'll always find myself playing some 2K. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you want to see me play these games, come catch me on Twitch. I stream like 5 or 6 days a week, normally around 8 p.m. Eastern. You'll always find me playing some ranked, and if you ever need any help with your real-life golf, I help people on Twitch for free. All you gotta do is join my Discord, submit your swing videos. When we're live, we'll break it down, give you some analysis. We helped out a ton of people. I'd love to help you guys out too. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button, and if you like golf, if you're not already subscribed, I know I've said it once, but please do it. We're getting close to 1,000. At least that's the way it feels, and I'm really excited about it. So you guys have a fantastic week, and go play yourself some golf. Take it easy.